Hey y'all, I'm Jeff Nowak, WWL Radio digital sports producer, here getting ready to celebrate WWL Radio's 100th anniversary. With a special guest, we got Jim Henderson, now retired, but longtime voice of the Saints, the narrator of some of the biggest moments in Saints history. What's kind of your earliest memory, of WWL Radio and being a part of that?
Well, I was part of the broadcast team as the color analyst on the broadcast of the Saints with Larry Matson as the play-by-play guy. And that occurred in 1982. In 1985, I was still the color analyst along with Larry when Archie Manning retired midway through the season with the Minnesota Vikings. We brought him on as the third member of our broadcast team, so we were three in the booth through the last half of 85. And before 1986, the people at WWL TV, who also were a part of WWL Radio, wanted to cut it back to a two-man booth. And so at that time, they needed somebody to be the play-by-play man along with Archie, and I was fortunate to survive and become the play-by-play guy with Archie Manning in 1986, and we worked together through 1998, which was probably the most glorious era in Saints history, apart from the most recent one when Sean Payton came aboard.
What was kind of the transition like going from kind of the paper bag days to the, fans expecting to win days? Kind of saw it happen, but it was a massive turnaround, it seems.
Well, I was there for both of them. 1980 was the paper bag days, probably one of the worst times in Saints history. And then when the Saints came aboard with Jim Moore and Jim Finks in 1986, that's when Archie and I became the broadcast team, and it was very serendipitous for us because people were not listening to the broadcast. People had turned off the team. There wasn't much interest in the club. They had never had a winning season. So when Archie and I came aboard, coincidentally, was when the Saints got good under Jim Moore and Jim Finks, had their first winning season in 1987, and the Saints truly turned things around and became a team that people around the NFL respected and actually looked up to, and that had never been the case during the previous time. So one of the things that really worked in our benefit was the Saints always got, before Archie and I came aboard, always got the worst broadcast teams that the networks had to offer. If there was an A game and a B game and a C game, the Saints were probably the F game. So we got all the worst broadcast teams, and because the Saints weren't good, not a lot of people were listening to the broadcasts or watching them on television. So when Archie and I came aboard, WWL Radio came up with the idea, turn down your television and turn up Saints radio. And we became the team in the NFL that had the most turned down audience anywhere in the league because we had had so many poor games on television, so many bad announcers, so many bad Saints teams that when Archie and I came aboard in 86 and the Saints got good, we benefited from all of that and we were on our way.
Kind of getting more specific here, I hear people try to do the calls, when you have these kind of very specific moments, and one that gets brought up all the time is Hakeem dropped the ball, there is a guy, that sort of thing. Is there a call for you specifically that stands out when you kind of go back through your career?
Well, a number of them really, but if I had to pick one, it wouldn't even be the Super Bowl game. It would have been the game that put the Saints in the Super Bowl with Garrett Hartley kicking the field goal that beat the Vikings and sent the Saints to the Super Bowl in Miami, which they would win 2 weeks later. Because in the Super Bowl, you kind of knew from about 2.5 minutes before the game ended that the Saints were going to win. Against the Vikings, there was never that opportunity where you could truly relax, and it came down to Hartley's kick in overtime. And having been the Saints announcer through a lot of bad times, you could never take anything for granted. Though it wasn't the longest field goal to be made by Hartley, as a Saints fan who'd watched this team for a long time, not only do you think he might miss it, it might get blocked and taken back for a touchdown and the Saints lose the game. So when he hit that field goal and the Saints did win the game, I had thought for a long time about what would I call if the Saints ever won the Super Bowl. And I said to myself, if the Saints ever won the Super Bowl, I'd say pigs have flown, hell is frozen over, the Saints are going to the Super Bowl. Well, when Hartley hit that, in the back of my mind I'm thinking, maybe I better not wait on that. I probably ought to use that now. who knows if the Saints ever will win a Super Bowl, which of course they did. So I said that, and it became sort of the symbol of the Saints that year, and their Super Bowl run was flying pigs. People sent them to me. I have a number at our house, mementos out in the garden, flying pigs. So pigs have flown, hell is frozen over, the Saints are going to the Super Bowl, was probably in my mind the biggest call of my life, even bigger than the Saints, Tracy Porter intercepting, Peyton Manning taking it in for the touchdown, and the Saints winning the Super Bowl, because it was so unexpected and so climactic. I remember preparing for a game, oftentimes I would write down a note, boy, if this happens, this would be a good line to use. And of course, if it did happen, I'd usually totally forget about it in the spirit of the moment. So yeah, that was one of the few times that things actually worked out.
Yeah, just kind of as someone who was a part of it and was, such a voice for the station for so many years, just how unique is it for a city, for a state, for an area to just have that consistent, voice, even throughout the years where the mediums have changed so much.
Yeah, well, I was fortunate to be with the Saints broadcast team, I guess, for over 30 years as their play-by-play man. And those jobs are hard to get. They're easy to lose. There are only 32 of them around the country, so to have that job to begin with was really special. To survive that long and to be a part of the best era in Saints history, their only Super Bowl performance, their only Super Bowl win, I was tremendously lucky. I see guys now around the NFL who've been there a long, long time. I saw one last week, Merrill Reese of the Philadelphia Eagles just signed a new contract, 3 more years, and I think he's in his early 80s or close to it. And he said, I will never leave this job. They're going to have to use a derrick and a bomb to get me out of the broadcast booth. And I think that's the way a lot of people who have these jobs feel, because you're privileged to be in that position. WWL Radio was a huge voice all over the South, 50,000 watts, clear channel. So the chance to come to New Orleans and have both the television station and the radio station owned by the same people, Loyola University, was great for me because the two jobs dovetailed really well. Radio took me where television would have sent me. And not a lot of people in my position have that opportunity. Usually you're either a play-by-play guy or you're a reporter/anchor guy, and I was able to be both. I kind of came in through the back door of doing play-by-play. I thought of myself as an anchor man and as a reporter, but the chance to do play-by-play and the chance that WWL Radio took a chance on me. I'd never called a football game. For them to take a chance on me at that level and stick with me through growing pains that everybody has was something that I truly will always think about for the rest of my life. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, WWL Radio. Happy birthday to you. And many more.